Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy here. 4 nerds, by nerds, hang out with some of my nerds.
Ryan.
I'm Ted.
And today we want to do a video about the great divide in RPGs between the RP and the G.
Before we get into that, under the description here, you'll find the Nerdarchy newsletter, which will tell you how to game with Nerdarchy, give you some other great tips and some other awesome exclusives. So back to our RP versus G.
So I wanted to do this video because a lot of times, you get role players versus role players, the min-maxers and the power gamers, and I was thinking about this, and I'm like, well, it's an RPG, like all
aspects go together.
Yeah, you need all of them. Like all those letters matter.
Right.
Without the G, all you're doing is sitting around the table telling stories, which is fine if that's what you want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're not playing an RPG.
Right.
So that's why you need to have some form of mechanics, even if it's a rules of light game
Or a Jenga tower.
or a Jenga tower.
Yeah, which I so want to play Dread. But yeah, like, I mean, different gaming tables and game systems could put different emphasis on it.
It's like a dimmer switch.
Well, it's like, maybe it's a capital RP and a lowercase g, or or the inverse of that, right? Like just kind of playing with
game.
Yeah, game.
Yeah.
So you're playing 4th edition. Sorry, dagger in the back, the 4E. But yeah, like, to varying degrees, like those things, all elements of the game do matter, but just some people like different things more than others.
Some people are going to be, the heavy immersive. They're very very into the story element, and if that's what you care about, that's great. But if you don't care about the game part of it, you can literally just say, well, let's shuck the rule books and let's just sit around and
Or join a theater troupe, maybe.
join a theater troupe,
and scratch that itch that way. Because I mean, the thing is, though, the problem is if you're like the 1 or 2 players in a group of everyone else like has a fair balance or mix of elements in the game, and you hijack the game session to have your monologues, like everyone's gonna hate you. Like I mean, really, like so.
I mean, they might not get down to hate.
They might be thoroughly annoyed.
Definitely be like,
It
we
can
have
go
to
the
invite them to
other
the next
way
session.
too. Like I feel like if you have a couple optimizers at the table that are really good at it, like they can definitely steal the spotlight the other way.
Yeah.
So like I feel like our group is actually more of a balanced mix. Now I mean we've been called power gamers and min-maxers.
Well, it's the internet, so I mean, anybody who's not firmly in your camp is so much so
the enemy.
Thing. Yeah.
Well, a lot of our discussions are about mechanics because a lot of you guys actually want to hear about mechanics. But when we actually play at our table, a lot of times, I think our play style as a group as a whole, me, Ryan, Ted, Nate, and some of the other guys that we've gamed with, is to really build a character mechanically around the concept, and then the bounce back and forth between figuring things out and flushing things out. Sometimes it's the mechanics that dictate the character,
Or vice versa.
Yeah, the personality traits, or sometimes we build the mechanics around the personality. But that's always been like a thing at our table.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just our play style. Where someone else's play style might be, they just like that completely immersive, and the mechanics don't matter so much, and
What are feats?
and they've it's like almost like they feel like if they don't suck at a lot of things, they're not really role playing.
Yeah.
Or you have other opposite end of that, where like if you're not awesome at doing combat, you've made a failed character.
Well, I mean, you've got people who have grown up reading about Raceland and the things that he had to overcome, and so many people have commented specifically about him, to me over the years of playing, about how this guy is something to utterly emulate. It's possible that so many of our, people...
If you try to make Raceland, though, your survivability is so much lower, right? Like,
Because you have 8 con.
Let's talk about the G. When you have the lowest hit dice, and especially in 2nd edition and earlier, you have a D4 hit die, which if you're rolling and you're taking the negatives, the negative hit to con, your survivability is like, I mean, we had Steve's character who was a necromancer with like ridiculously low hit points too. He did manage to survive, but in this game aspect of the game, like if things go very poorly for your character, even just moderately so, like you almost have to be kind of lucky to make a so subpar character for it to survive, because you want to keep playing that character, right? Because if that character dies, you don't get to play it anymore. So like you kind of want to make a character that has that staying power. You know,
don't worry, I got you covered. You just don't leave town. And you
become a librarian and you role play being a librarian. The party comes in to see you, and you're like the Giles of Buffy, you know, and you just kind of like give them lore whenever they need it, and they go back out.
Is that where the name Giles came from?
Yeah. So you know, basically, like you can teleconference in your contribution to the role playing game, because you may as well not show up for an 8-hour game session that you're literally just going to lore keeper, and then the party's going to go out and fight stuff.
Yeah, well, so you need a balance. Like you need your players and your GM to all be playing the same game.
The same type of game, yeah. Like you know, I could imagine, and I thought about doing this too. The idea of doing a game where everybody does do like a 3d6 or 4d6 Leave or Lies, and you kind of do a suboptimals game. Like maybe people call the racing class before dice are rolled, and you do a game where like all the characters are going to kind of suck and be like the D squad that gets called in to deal with things, or some circumstances happen that they have to deal with something, but you don't make the challenges that as nearly as hard as you would for the group that is your like
it's
elite.
a kobold.
Yeah, it's a single kobold wielding cats. They have a cat in each hand, and it's a single kobold. Yeah.
SR2 Joker, Andrew Knapp ran a commoners game where like they didn't have any class levels. They really didn't have a lot of hit points or anything like that, and it was a very heavy role playing session.
Yeah.
And and spoilers here if you're planning on watching that game, or at the end the big bad was a single regular old kobold. That did murder like most of the party.
Yeah. So you could see like what it would feel like to be a commoner in a medieval fantasy game. Yeah,
I think only one of the characters actually had a real weapon.
Yeah.
I think Art Wood played in that game, and he had a battle axe because he was playing a dwarven blacksmith, and it was a hereditary item.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, wow. There was like the healer doctor barber character that had a straight razor.
Yeah. A D3 weapon or something like that.
Yeah. So, and like they were literally investigating like an old woman's cellar.
Yeah. Jinkies.
Yeah, it was definitely totally like that. So, but like you're saying, like, so that's an example of a really underpowered, under-optimized characters, but it's okay because the whole game was being run that way.
The premise is like by the end we're gonna fight a kobold. Yeah, like so.
Yeah, and then like so from there, like that game could evolve to like, oh look, you guys completed your first quest. Now you're all first level,
and you get a character level. Yeah,
and you get a character level. You can go up from there. So, but again, it goes down to like they're playing the same RPG. They're using all the elements of RPG to different degrees, but they're on the same page. It becomes a real problem when you want to create a divide between the RP and G. Yeah, and that's I think that's the divisive part of our
niche
and gaming is you have the contingents like, oh no, it's all about RP, and then you got the other guys that are like, no,
if I can't stab some shit,
it's all about mechanics in the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really about both. If you want less G, then you should probably play a game with less G in it.
Right.
There's plenty of really rules-like games where that's going to be less of a factor. But like, when we're playing a game like Dungeons and Dragons, and much of our audience plays that, no matter what version it is, it's got all of it in there. So you should probably use it all and find that balance that works for your group.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the very storytelling-esque game where you like roll dice with the dice pools and you allocate them, and it is all narrative based. It's totally escaping me.
You're not thinking of like White Wolf.
No. Like it's basically like the dice pool are story elements, and you're narratively telling like pretty much no dice are really about resolution, by and large.
For the story.
Yeah, I can't remember the game name, but it's pretty much all
the,
narrative.
The only narrative I did was Dungeon World.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not Dungeon World. Damn it! All right, in the comments below, somebody's gonna remember it. Basically, you
help Orion out.
Yeah, you roll to like figure out your relationship between you and other players.
Fiasco.
Thank you. My word.
I haven't actually played it, but when you said the relationship.
Yeah. So Fiasco is pretty much all a narrative game. And it is all about storytelling. So, Fiasco is the game for you if you want to just tell stories and not worry too much about.
So, I want to kick this to the comments below, but before I do, I just want to say, like, Nerdarchy as a whole, we try not to judge how other people play and other game styles. Like, we know what we prefer.
If it works for you, great. We're not going to tell you what you're doing is wrong if everyone at your table is happy.
Our videos, unless we're talking about specific mechanics in a specific game, are never about telling you how to play your game. We're giving you our opinions on how we like to play our game.
And as the internet, you love to give us your opinions of how we're doing it wrong.
Pretty much.
No.
But down in the comments below, you know what to do. And while you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can check us out over on Instagram.
Or you can support us over on Patreon.
So until next time, keep gaming and stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.